I know, it's time for the No Half Stuff Hockey coverage, so let me deliver the goods. Time for operation number 728. That's right. Show number 728 for the Renegades of Puck. And at this moment in hockey history, the Nashville Predators currently find themselves in the thick of a playoff race with just about a month to go in the season. 64 games skated by the Nashville Predators, a record of 33, 24, and 7. 73 points is good for fifth place overall in the Central Division. On home ice, the Nashville Predators have a record of 16, 11, and 3. We've not been able to give you those numbers in quite some time because the Nashville Predators have been on the road seemingly forever. The Nashville Predators have 186 goals scored on the season. They've given up 189. They have a goal differential of -3. Now, let's talk about the standings update because this is of critical importance and will change day to day, so we will need to update this as often as possible. Let's start with the Central Division itself. Dallas Stars are in first place. They've skated in 66 games. They have 85 points. Minnesota in second place has skated one more game than Dallas, are 1 point behind Dallas at 84. Now, things get a lot more interesting when you hit third place. The Winnipeg Jets have skated in 67 games on the season. That's going to be critically important here in just a second. 79 points on the season. Now, they are only 1 point ahead of fourth place Colorado, and they are, in fact, 6 points ahead at this moment of the Nashville Predators. Now, the first three positions in the Central Division all will qualify for an automatic playoff bid in the Western Conference playoff bracket. And then, of course, there are 2 wild card spots available. We'll get to that in just a moment. So Nashville Predators currently find themselves in fifth. Below the Predators, everyone else out of the race, it goes St. Louis with 63, Arizona at 59, Chicago is at 50 points on the season. So the Preds find themselves 6 points out of an automatic qualifying playoff spot in third place in the Central Division. Now the Colorado Avalanche between the Preds and the third spot with the Winnipeg Jets. But the Nashville Predators have played 3 fewer games than the Winnipeg Jets, and Winnipeg is ahead by 6 points. Now, that's going to become of critical importance when we talk about the schedule after I update the wild card standings. Now, the wild card is starting to shape up. Edmonton first, 80 points, and then Colorado at 78 points holds the second wild card spot. The Nashville Predators currently sit 5 points behind the Colorado Avalanche. The two teams have skated in the same number of games, and the Calgary Flames are also tied with the same number of points, but the Preds hold the tiebreakers at this point in time against the Calgary Flames. It is shaping up to be those two teams basically battling it out to see if they can pick off either Colorado or Edmonton down the stretch here in the final weeks of the season. That gets you updated on the standings. Now, the schedule, very important for the Nashville Predators. Thursday, they will be facing off on home ice against Chicago after this next game against Detroit. And Saturday, the Winnipeg Jets in town to face off against the Nashville Predators. That game is of significance in this Central Division race. Then on Sunday, the Nashville Predators in New York to take on the Rangers at Madison Square Garden. On the 21st, the Predators are in Buffalo. And on the 23rd, the Predators are back home to take on the Seattle Kraken. Of course, the 24th, as we've already mentioned, home base freak out 2 at Tailgate Brewery. Music Row starts at 7 p.m. Can't wait to see all of you guys out there. Now, Preds' next opponent is the Detroit Red Wings. They've played once already, so this will be the second and final meeting of the regular season between these former Central Division rivals. It was back on November the 23rd when these two teams met. The Nashville Predators unable to score a goal in that game, falling 3-0 in Detroit. Husso gets the shootout with 26 saves. Larkin and Hronek each with a goal, and Lankinen took the loss for the Preds, 26 out of 28. Of course, there was an empty net goal in that game. Now, overall, the Detroit Red Wings have a record of 30, 27, and 9, 69 points on the season. That's good for 7th in the Atlantic. On the road, 13, 15, and 5, and they have a goal differential of -18. In their most recent stretch of action, let's go back and take a look at the most recent 5 games. It was March the 4th when they had a 4-1 loss at the New York Islanders. Followed that up on the 5th of March with a 3-1 loss at the Philadelphia Flyers. On the 8th, it was a 4-3 win versus Chicago. And on the 11th, a 3-2 loss at Boston, followed the next day by a 5-3 victory versus the Boston Bruins. So a home and home against the best team in the NHL. And the Wings come out of that, splitting the home and home series 1-1 apiece. Now, for the Predators, it is getting a bit more difficult to figure out who's going to be in the lineup day to day. because of all of the recent injuries. Philip Forsberg still listed as day-to-day. Hope to get an update on him, as well as Parsonen, Evangelista, all day-to-day at this point in time. Carrier probably still another 3 weeks from returning, and Johansson, of course, is still at least 2 more months away from returning after his surgery. But injuries definitely becoming an issue for this Nashville Predators team. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, we talk about the rankings in this matchup and where these two teams fit in the NHL. In the goals for category, the Nashville Predators have scored 2.84 per game over the course of the season. That's 25th best in the NHL. And the Detroit Red Wings, 2.98. That is 22nd overall in the league. In the goals against category, the Nashville Predators sit 12th overall in the league at 2.92. In the goals against category, Detroit sits at 3.24 given up per game. That is 19th in the NHL. Shots for Detroit only putting up 28.8 per game. That's 29th in the league. While the Nashville Predators 30.6 is not necessarily the best number, but it is much better than Detroit, and it is 19th rated in the league at this time. In the shots against category, Detroit does lead in this category, 13th best in the league, 31.1 against per game, while the Preds give up 33.5 against per game. That is 26. Now, special teams, power play for the Detroit Red Wings ahead in this statistical metric, 18th best power play in the league, converting at 21.1%. 48 conversions on 228 power play opportunities. The Detroit Red Wings find themselves on the power play quite a bit. The Preds power play not nearly as good or not nearly as many opportunities. 25th overall is their rating. 19.2% is their conversion rate. And the raw data is 38 scores on 198 power play opportunities. When it comes to penalty kill, the Nashville Predators, frankly, have been easily one of the best penalty kill teams in the NHL since the All-Star break. It has bumped them way up in the season rankings to 11th in the league. Yes, the Preds have given up 39 power play goals against, but certainly not as of late. 81.7% is their kill rate. Detroit has the 19th rated penalty kill. They've given up 44 power play goals against on the season. Their penalty kill rate is 77.8%. Now, for each team, we always talk about the top 5 scorers and the upcoming net minding situation, the starters. We give you the stats and we update them right here. And we start with the top 5 individuals for each team. Let's start with visiting Detroit Red Wings. Larkin typically plays quite good against the Nashville Predators, leads the Wings at this time in the season. 25 goals overall, 39 assists, also number 1 on the team. 64 points is number 1 overall, and by considerable. He's from first to second separation is 23 points, just to give you the same disparity on the other side. From first to second in the individual statistics is 7 points from Yossi to Duchesne. Larkin at 64, Perron 16 and 25 for 41. Kubalik 18 goals on the season. That's a nice season right there. 21 assists, 39 points. Hronik's already scored against the Preds this season. He's got 9 goals, 29 assists for 38 points overall. And Raymond 16 and 20 for 36 in net. Husso 25, 16 and 6 and 903 save percentage, 2.93 goals against average, and already shutout this season against the Nashville Predators. When it comes to the Nashville Predators, individual statistics, the captain Roman Josi leads the team overall in points with 58. He also leads the team in assists with 41, adds 17 goals to that, and that's how we get to the 58 points. Matt Duchesne tied with Philip Forsberg, 19 goals, leads the team. Matt Duchesne, though, has 32 assists and 51 points. Philip Forsberg has 23 assists and 42 points, and of course, Philip Forsberg has been out for quite some time now. Tommy Novak moving up the rankings of the Nashville Predators individual statistics, 12 goals now on the season, 15 assists, 27 points, and Tommy Novak is really proving to be a prime-time, everyday player for this Predators team. Ever since he's been given the opportunity, he certainly seized it. Colton Sissons now bumps up 11 goals, 15 assists, 26 points on the season, and UC Saros after the most recent game, 25, 18, and 6 on the season, a 917 save percentage, a 2.78 goals against average. UC Saros truly putting up a very good season for a team that is in 5th place overall. Saros doing a tremendous job. That's got you all set up for the next game. Nashville Predators finally back home after the long March Madness road trip took them all over the continent, and it seemed like they crossed the continent 2 or 3 different times. Not the easiest road trip to go on, but the Nashville Predators certainly made the best of it. We'll recap the final game in Anaheim of that road trip coming up. Second day of back-to-backs. Nashville Predators were in LA yesterday, in Anaheim just a few hours ago. We'll recap that full game coming up. Now that we've got you all set up for the Nashville Predators' next game against the Detroit Red Wings, let's head on down to the Rebirth Sports full game recap. It's coming up next right here on the Renegades of Puck podcast.